Hi, I'm Chadwick Lewis, proprietor and owner of Urban Fresh Produce. We're based in Ottawa, Ontario, and we grow certified organic seedlings, vegetable seedlings, flower seedlings, and this year, some native plants. And in addition to that, we also produce certified organic vegetables in the field and run a CSA within the city area. So today what we're going to be doing is just some transplanting. We're going to be doing some sweet potato slips, and then we're going to be doing some seeding here of some bok choy. When it comes to soil, you want to make sure that your soil is damp, slightly damp, but not wet. So what I do is, for us, when we mix our soil, we add a little bit of water in there, and the goal is to get it in moist enough so that when you hold it, it forms a clump that's easily breakable. That's what you want. So you can add a little bit of water in there with your soil mix, your pro mix or whatever, just enough so that it does that. And then you have enough moisture in your soil to start off and seed with. Then when you're done seeding, then you can water. Let's start with our bok choy, because it's just going to be quicker to seed those. And what we do is you want to check the seed pack to know ideally when you should be starting those at home. But I do this all the time, so I'm not going to check the seed pack right now. You pour those seeds, these are what the bok choy seeds look like. And you notice that kale seeds, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, they all look pretty similar because they're all in the same family. So what we do here, well, what I do is I do a slight depression, not too much, just enough so that it's a crater in there. And I do one to three seeds. If you get four in there, that's okay. You're not mad about that. And you just keep going until you have them all done. Then, and once we're done with that, we're going to cover them up with some vermiculite and a thin layer of soil. One question that people usually ask me is, how do I put the seeds in? How deep do I put the seeds? And I'm like, the smaller the seed, the less you want to bury it, because it means it has much less energy in terms of germination. So the deeper it is, the less likely it is to make it to the surface, or the longer it will take to germinate. So, pro tip, if you will, put it in just as deep as you need to, not much deeper than you need to. So maybe even a quarter inch at the most. Not sure what that is in centimeters. I'm sorry. But yeah, a quarter inch is deep enough for most things. When you have things like cucurbits, like your squashes and your melons, they're a little bit bigger seed. You can put them a little deeper. Also, nasturtiums, if you ever grow them from seed, like to be buried a little deeper. And they're a huge seed that looks like a nut. I usually make a depression as I go. Some people will make all the depressions first and then seed, but I prefer to do it this way because it helps me remember exactly where the last place I seeded was, so that I don't lose track of my cells that I'm seeding. It's just more of a matter of preference. However, I find it helps me to remember because I seed a lot of seeds. So, you might want to take that tip just to keep yourself ahead of things. Vermiculite simply is there to lock in some moisture in your seeding thing, your trays. Yes, it keeps moisture. It slows down the loss of moisture from the surface of your soil, and by extension, the rest of your soil. If you don't use vermiculite, it's not the end of the world. And also, you can just cover. I've done rudimentary stuff before I ever had a greenhouse where I would literally use those simple clear covers that you get probably at Walmart or whatever your local garden big box or garden center is. Those covers actually work if you know what to do. And if you're starting in a pretty cold place, and you don't want to buy a heating mat, I'd say just put it on the floor fence during the late winter. That's going to provide the same function, and it's going to be more constant because your heat will come on every so often. And at that point, it's going to warm up the soil just enough and speed up your germination. Now we're just going to give them a thin layer of soil. And when I say thin, I mean very thin. So we're just going to even spread that out ever so gently. For some things like basil and your herbs, I would not even put a layer of soil. Just leave them in the depression and then spread vermiculite on them. And that just helps improve the germination rate for them because they're really, really tiny seeds. And the smaller the seed, the less energy it has stored up to get out and create two leaves and then still grow a stem and root. So now that our tray is done, and we don't have a tube of Pringles there. We just have some vermiculite. Vermiculite is like a mineral that has been put through a process that just allows it to expand and be really spongy and accept water in there. So it's several times the size of what it actually would be. And it holds water in the clumps of it. And I like to do it like this, up the line. But this is, you do it as you can, whatever's more comfortable for you. That's how you would do it. And then just pour it on here. There will be some mess, so if you're doing this at home, you may want to put like a tarp or something so that you don't ruin the table or something like that. And then you just even it out a bit. And then you're good to go. And guess what? Oh, one last thing that I do and I recommend that everyone does is label what you've seeded. So I have because I'm in a greenhouse, I use like industrial permanent markers so they don't run out or dry out quickly or wash off. So we did some bok choy, Shanghai green. So I'll write bok choy and the cultivar in single quotes, Shanghai green. The next important piece of information that I put is the date of seeding. So it's 5/19, May 19th at the time of filming. And then I stick it in the corner. And then boom, it's time to water. I use a watering wand. But what the goal is, this is a gentle flow. So you can just get a basic watering can that has a really gentle flow to it. And what we'll do is we'll water it, we'll give it a good soak, we'll let it settle for a while, and then we'll water it again. So that way it's soaked through and through. And then we just set it wherever you want it to, wherever you plan to be this germination area. That's where you'll set it after that. Keep them at room temperature until they germinate, and then you put them on the grow lights. They don't need light to germinate. They only need light after they germinate. Well, the plastic bag is the same as that little dome that comes with the case at Walmart. It does the same thing. It's just like the greenhouse is covered in plastic, all just to create more humidity, keep that heat in, and allow for higher temperature, which makes for more ideal conditions for germination. This is my germination chamber, and it's a basic setup. Again, more important is the soil temp. So we have like just a basic heating cable that you would heat a floor with. And we put some plywood over it so it just keeps the bottom of the trays fairly warm. And in the dead of winter, we cover this up and we have 1 or 2 space heaters there that we use. And we just, with those, it creates enough warmth and humidity in here to allow for them to germinate. But you know what's missing? Grow lights. There's none in here. So you don't need them just yet. For the grow lights, I mean, there's different colors. Some people say that blue light or red light or whatever is better for some things. But if anyone knows high school physics, you know that the white light is the spectrum, so it has all of it. So I just stick with some basic white lights, and most things will grow once they're bright enough. So white lights, not to make it complicated, to keep it as simple as possible. Basic white lights will do the job for you. And if you really want to be, depending on if you want to be more energy efficient, I would use LEDs. You can get little strips of LEDs that you could put onto a shelf like this. You can show them those shelves. And you can just get those shelves from like the Home Depot or wherever. and run your strips of light along the underside, and that will be enough light to help out. But if you have the ability to have more light than that, then I would definitely get some sort of halogen light or T4 or whatever. If you really want to go, but for the best, absolute barest minimum, you want to start on a shoestring budget. LEDs are your way to go. You can get them on Amazon. You may be able to find them at Walmart or at Home Depot, one of those stores, and you're also able to set some of them on timers so that they come on as needed. All these plants started and they just follow whatever light, whatever the day length was, and that's fine for them.